it's just a very unfortunate situation that occurred on Saturday night, and his passing today is just very tragic. So on behalf of the Hustle, our organization, Grizz organization, we want to send our condolences to Pistons organization in Grand Rapids. It's just unfortunate. Guy goes from fulfilling his dream of playing basketball and playing at a high level to passing away doing what he loved. And it could happen to anyone, and unfortunately happened to him. And we're just really saddened by it. So.
Year one, how'd it go?
Well, I thought there was a lot of positives. The record obviously 21-29. We're finishing on a high note. We won last 4 out of 5. We beat 5 out of the 6 teams in the West that's going to playoffs, which I think is a huge deal for having the youngest team in the G League this season. Kobe had a good year for us. He averaged 15 points a game. I think he played half the season, played 25 games. Ivan played 18 games with us. He averaged 15 and 9. So he was very productive. And even, that translated to when he played with the Grizz, and I can go on and on. Austin was 7th in the league in block shots in playing limited games because of his injuries. But he showed that he's a potential NBA talent. We were able to get Marcus T called up, which is a big deal for the Hustle organization. Having a player get called up is always a big deal. So we're excited for Marcus Teague, who's now still with the Grizz organization. We were able to get some guys overseas contract. JJ just got called to Italy, so he'll leave tomorrow. Tyndale's leaving, Mark Tyndale's leaving for Mexico. And so that's what it's all about. Chance Comanche made unbelievable improvement. By far the biggest jump in terms of what he's done beginning of the year to the end of the year. What he's done is just phenomenal. He's made himself a potential NBA player. He's got all kind of teams calling about him. Omari Johnson, spectacular shooter. Had a really good year for us this season. Just was on fire in February and March. So overall, very, very productive. Again, more than just in terms of wins and losses, just the production. Every player on our roster got better. That's why you have the G League, and there was just tremendous amount of positives this past year.
What's it like trying to kind of manage all those moving parts, guys' individual games, but then they got to function as a unit when they're out there? Yeah,
it was tough. I think that's the toughest part of it is not knowing from game to game who you're going to have on your roster. And it was tough on these guys at times. They're practicing with the Grizz in the morning, they're playing with us at night, or vice versa. So that made it tough for guys like Kobe and Ivan and Mike Henry, who had to go back and forward. But we were able to keep things together, keep it positive. We lost a lot of close games. But again, it's guys, they figured it out and figured out that they could be productive on both levels.
How much better was it to operate your organization out of this building as opposed to Iowa?
Biasly, we have by far the best setup in the G League, in my opinion, in terms of just being here. Locker room's here, our office setup is here. Guys can walk 2 blocks to where they live and sleep in their own beds. And so I think we've got the best setup. And again, they could practice here in the morning and play at night with us, so they didn't have to worry about getting on a plane and flying across the country and playing the same night.
You mentioned the positive of Marcus getting the call up. Was it frustrating to you at all how long it took, and how do you hope for those movements to be made in the future?
Yeah, that's, again, there's 30 teams. He could have got called up by 29 other teams. But you look at his numbers and what he's done for us production-wise, stat-wise, what he did for us in terms of leadership. And the one thing I talked about, he was my captain, Omari Johnson was my captain. The reason why guys made such positive upward trends was because of those 2 guys, their leadership, the things they did off the floor. But there were 29 other teams could have called him up. But again, it's a positive in your first year. Anytime you get a guy called up, it really helps recruiting going forward for other veteran guys for next season.
The way you guys finished, how promising do you think that is for next year? Obviously, moving parts, you could have different players, but just for this franchise in its first year.
No, I thought it was great. We beat some really good teams, and we played, not only just beat them, we just played at a high level. Scored a lot of points, we were unselfish. It started to click in, and it's funny to hear guys say, man, coach, we wish we were still playing because now we got it. And I think a lot of that was because we had a nucleus of guys that had been together and had kind of figured things out. And that's the big thing with the G League. The teams that keep the guys together the longest are the teams that's the best. It's not the guys that get called up all the time. That's the better teams.
Did the two-way player thing work out even better than you thought it might?
It did, not necessarily for us. You know, there was a period of, I don't know, maybe 2 months where, you know, we didn't have call-up guys, you know, or two-way guys. And part of that was because of the grid situation of injuries and wanting to play and look at the guys, see how they develop, the young guys. But yes, it did overall in the league, it did.